Okay, so this is a percentage question. It's mentioned that out of the shirts produced in a factory, 15% are defective, 20% of the rest are sold in the domestic market, and the remaining 8840 or whatever, if then the number of shirts produced in the factory. So what are we looking for is that there's a bit of tree structure happening. So there's 15% of the total production is defective basically. So you can leave that out. 20% of the rest, so that is 20% of 85%, right? So 20% of the rest, 20% of 85 is 17, or you can do 85% of 20, but 20% of 85 is faster actually. So 17% of the total number is or are sold in the domestic market. So let me write domestic, and the remaining is basically what? Then 15% of the total and 17% of the total. You're 32%, so you're left with 68%. So the 68% is effectively this 8840, right? So now we have a relationship and a numerical value of the total number. So you know that 68% of the total is corresponding to 8840, right? So in order to solve these kind of questions, I hope you can see that each of the options are integer in nature. So just notice the last digit here and the last digit here. So typically that would give you an idea of the last non-zero digit of these kind of percentage questions. So 8 into something should give us 4, right? That is either 8 into 3 or 8 into 8, isn't it? So 8 into 3 and 8 into 8. Now 8 into 8 is not possible here, right? Last non-zero digit, just check that out. So if you have check the options, it doesn't matter which place do we have that non-zero digit. Do not test that much. So don't worry about this part or this part. I mean, this has a last non-zero digit of 3. This part of this part. So that doesn't matter. Just the only thing is last non-zero digit, because all the zeros are going to adjust itself anyhow. So don't worry on that part. So if you just check the last non-zero digit, the possibilities are either 3 or 8. Now 8 is in none of them, but B has a last non-zero digit of 3. So the answer will be B. If you're not that confident after you've checked it, just calculate 68% of this 13,000 and you will get the answer as 8840. So 60% is 7800, and then 8% will give you 1040. So you can just add them up, you get the answer as 8840. So it's easier to evaluate or figure out using the last digit and then come back, or the other way around. I'll just take a minute to explain this particular method if you do not have options. So in that case, what I do is, so suppose you have something like this: 68% of total is equal to 8840, right? Now, because I don't have options, I know that the answer will be integral in nature. Yeah, because even if the answers are decimals, you don't have more than zero. 0.5 or zero. 0.8 or something like that. I mean, not two decimal places or something like that. Typically, the theta ones are the numerical or the integral, whole number answers. So if you just test this out, 68% of the total is 8840. Now, I am noticing a couple of things here. One is this 68 and another is this 884. This is without option method. So I'm looking at what 68 into how much. Sorry, I just wrote the answer. 68 into how much will give us this 884. That is my focal point. Now I am quickly noticing that this is a 2-digit number and this is a 3-digit number. So this should have 2 digits here. That's it. So because a 2-digit number into single digit, most of the cases, the number that you can have is, the maximum case you can have is less than 680, right? Because this is a 800 something, so you cannot have a single digit number here. So this has to be a 2-digit number, of course, not more than 2 digits. So the two parts to it, there are the last digit and the first digit. So last digit, it's easy. So 8 into something. So this has a couple of possibilities, 3 or 8, 3 or 8. So that will always give you the last digit of 4. 8 into 3 is 4. 8 into 8 is 4, last digit. And for the starting part, all you do is check this and check this part. So 6 into 2 would have, given us anyhow a 4-digit result here. That would be 12 or something. But 6 into 1 is fine, right? So this has to be 1. So this is definitely 1. And this is either 13 or 18. Now it depends on how you evaluate it. So in that case, you can either check it with 15 or something, or you can check it in this way that 68 into 20 would be 136 followed with a 0, which is a big number compared to 884. So this should be closer to 10 rather than 20, right? So this is 13. So 68 into 13 should be 884. And once you know that, then you can use this without option. So let me show you how to do that. So this kind of thing, I mean, you should have a practice and you can figure this out very quickly. Trust me on that. It takes me nowadays less than 5 seconds to figure out these cases, provided the answer is integral, of course. That is without options. You will always have integral. That is what I mentioned earlier. So you have 68% of the total is equal to 8840, right? So this is with if you don't have options. So now I know that 68 into 13 gives me this just by looking at it, the last digit and the first digit. So I know 13 should be, it cannot be 18. So I know that 1% of the total should be 130, right? And as soon as I know this, I know that 100% of the total is 130 followed by a couple of zeros. So that's it. So this can be solved without option, the same thing. And if you have options, that is even much more faster. So coming back to the ideal time to solve this question, this is definitely a must-do kind of question. You should be attempting a question like this, but the ideal time would be somewhere from 1 to 1.5 minutes. It depends on your comfortability with calculations a bit, because this part because you had options, this should be ideally understood by most of you. But then if you don't, then again that will take some time. In order to divide 884 by 68, you have to just write it down maybe. So that's it for this question.